we're fixing to take this here turbocharger off, because we're fixing to take this here cylinder head off, because we're fixing to take this upper and lower oil pan off, and we're fixing to take all of it apart. So let's go ahead and take this heat shield off first. And what we got here is 6mm hex. And as I've had perfect success most of the time with a swivel, a ball end, you're gonna have the best success with this straight end. And if you'll notice, the tip is a little bit wonky on this one, but I'm not even gonna take the time to clean this one up on the grinder right now. I'm just gonna get after it. But there's one more 6, and that's this bracket right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if this one comes loose first. I'm gonna take, see, this is a 3/8 here. I'm gonna tap it into place. Make sure it's fully seated. And that's not gonna come loose. That's gonna strip out. So, is that because my socket's a little wonky? Or is it because that's a turbocharger and that thing gets smoking hot? All right, that came out. This little drain plug like bolt, all right? And then these two come out with no problem. Oftentimes, one of them or both of them are slightly loose already. Now I want you to take a close look at this right here. Do you see this right here? This is what we would call some slight seepage. It doesn't, now there might have been some oil that leaked from this pipe whenever I disconnected it, and that's what this is coming down here. But this, you can tell, has been here for a long time, right? That seepage. That's not an active leak. That's not something that's actively hitting the ground or anything. If you'll look over here, it's pretty dry. And then it's a little bit of a seepage again over here. See, that's nothing that you need to worry about. If you see that, you don't say, hey, I need to reseal my timing cover, my upper cam tray cover. No, what you would do with this is you would clean it, and reevaluate it after a long time, or however long. Reevaluate it after 20 miles, after 200 miles, after 2,000 miles. If it doesn't look like this until another 80,000 miles, hey, guess what? It was fixed by cleaning it. But don't get excessive with your cleaning. Just, you know, we'll do a cleaning video in the future. It's not that hard. You can spray it with the pressure washer. Just be careful. Let's move on. So we're missing this, not missing, the stud is broken right here. See these studs? These things, it's a turbocharger. This thing gets super hot. All the exhaust gases spin this exhaust wheel, right? It feels good. We have just a slight amount of play on this wastegate linkage. That's a common issue. I'm gonna throw a clip on there, but this is minimal. I'm not gonna fix that right now. I've got lots of videos where I show it. You just take your cutoff wheel and cut a slot all the way through that stud, not through the other end, but through the bolt, and then that allows you to either squeeze the bolt and just pull it straight out, or unscrew it, and you can put a new stud in there. But like I just showed you with this bolt right here, most of the time you're gonna fight yourself and you're gonna break your tools. Don't waste your time up here. Just take it loose right here and take a pry bar and bend it slightly out because there's a little bit of a ledge, see that? So let's get our 13mm ratchet wrench and unscrew here. So you get the 13mm ratchet wrench. You apply it on the bolt and then you rotate it until the bolt is fully and completely extracted from its fastening device. In this particular case, this elbow bracket is bolted onto the block separately. So right here, we put this to the side and then we take something, you know, I'd prefer if I had a pry bar handy, but what I had handy was these bolt cutters. And is that gonna be enough? No, I'm gonna grab this pry bar. And I'm gonna stick it right here. Let's see, I'd really like to get right here and do one of these. I need to get it just a little bit more. All right, see, that's definitely not gonna get in my way. Now, whenever you put the bolt back in, you do need to take the pry bar and do like that. And then it has to be, you know, we'll get there. But that's enough to where it's not gonna fight you. Now let's get these triple squares out. We got 3 of them right here. And I'm just gonna take these 3 out right here. Using a power tool, these will be a 8mm triple square. This is not an Impact Universal tool. And this is a pretty powerful Milwaukee Impact I'm using. All right. The clearance on this tool versus these bolts are fighting me. Now let's see if I can stick this one all the way up in here. See, it's a little bit of a tight fit up in there. But this is where I prefer to take it loose. Some people have taken these clamps loose and slid the pipe off that way. I do not suggest that. Now, let's go ahead and just take this all the way off. The swivel was a bad choice. It really was. And I'm gonna give it about 2 more seconds before I'm gonna, okay. My patience is about worn. What in the world? Okay, I'm done with this. Just such a tiny amount of dirt can make it seem like these things don't fit. And whenever I was wiggling that swivel around, well, is that gonna fit there? See, I gotta get this out of the way first. That one's being extra stubborn. Normally these come out on about the second or third. Wow. Man, this engine is just fighting me every step of the way. All right. Oil return. Now let's take off these 12 millimeters up top here. This thing is so easy to take off. We just got to get an extension. Okay, I prefer to break them loose first because this extension probably, we'll see. And the last one, like so. Now I grab down here and it's gonna fight me again. So we're gonna collect our hardware from the top. Now, let's see if I can't get a little bit of a leverage with this wood handle. See that? Now I'm gonna get my hip in here a little bit. All it really takes is the perfect angle to pop it right off and over. And this turbo is gonna pull right off to the side. And then to get this bar loose, right, you can tighten it back up just fine, but getting it loose is the problem. So now is where you get it loose. You tap it. Let's grab that hammer that I was messing about with. See that? Now it'll unscrew with your fingers. So that's the easy way to have that loosened up and ready to bolt back into place. So you don't have to fight it. So most people just take it off altogether because it's too much to fight with. But now that I showed you the little tip and trick, you can keep them on there. It needs to go on this side. Come on. There we go. Let's go on this side. Right about there until so we'll put that to the side so it doesn't get anything inside there to a safe spot. To get a little bit ratty with the fluids and the kitty litter. No, I do not own a cat. I did not take that bolt out for some stupid reason. Someone took that bolt out. I don't know why, because you never really need to take this hose off. But that's interesting. So that has come off for some reason. Let's go ahead and just get this rear outlet out of the way. Oh, man. Using my super long extension. Okay, now let's grab the hardware. And then all there is to this one, we put the hardware to the side. You just simply, and it's gonna fight me again. You simply wiggle and pull it. You wanna inspect it to make sure it's not in bad shape, brittle, falling apart, that kind of thing. Make sure the O-ring's not swollen, and we're moving on. There's no need to take this any further apart with this coolant hose or these engine mounts on either side or the starter. That can all stay on the block. I will go ahead and throw a screw back in this coolant hose just because it'll make me feel better, even though it's not really all that necessary. That way, it'll look better the next time someone else takes it apart. And they can't say, hey, whoever had this apart didn't put this on. Like I'm doing right now, which I'm also saying it's not that big of a deal. But our next step is, let's go ahead and take the cylinder head off. What we're going to do is, we're going to go like that, okay? And we're going to do that with an impact. And that impact is what I'm fixing right now. Putting it together. Okay. This is how I'm going to start it. Is it perfectly by the book? Probably not. I'm not going to even say probably not. It's straight up not perfectly by the book. That last one, man, it just blew apart on that last one. Let's take this right here and we're gonna put it someplace clean. And I'm just gonna set it right there. Now, let's inspect our camshafts. Is it salvageable? We're gonna find out. Let's go ahead and take our rail out because that will benefit us. That's why we're taking it out, to be a benefit. Now, everything looks good there. No broken rockers. Now, do you notice it doesn't fit back? That's because I didn't take it out properly. I haphazardly took it apart. I took it apart how most people are going to take it apart. But these camshaft lobes slide. So if I wasn't super ginger with how I set it back down on there, or if I tried to force it back down in there, it's very possible to nick the sides of these cam journals. So what I like to do is, I like to put the camera up somewhere with both hands to do that. But there's another video where I show that. But I'm very happy with the way the camshafts look. And if I wanted to rebuild the cylinder head, I would be very happy with how everything looks. So we're going to go ahead and put these cams away in a clean spot in a drawer in my toolbox, and I'm going to go ahead and pick out these rockers. Now what I instantly see here is a huge, big time no-no. Whoever did pistons on this job right here did not know what they were doing. Big time F, big time fail, noob, idiot, whatever. I've been there, I've done that, but that was years ago. it never actually came to bite me because I don't think I ever did it bad enough. But this is a cam tray. You cannot, this is soft aluminum. I can tell by the way that this looks that a whiz disc was used previously to clean this surface. And you see, this is what the flush surface looks like. That's a whiz disc surface that went all the way up to right here. So this area right here and that area right here are all the way full flush. We only have that spot right here, and they stopped whiz discing it right here, you see. So they stopped right here, and they stopped right here. Anyway, this is such a tight clearance. This is supposed to be a flush mount, right? So this is how you pull the rockers out, by the way. I left a couple in there to show you. You just yank them right out, put those to the side. The way you clean this is not with a whiz disc, not with a power tool, not with nothing but a razor blade. And that was why I was waiting for a video. I was waiting to do a proper video on this because so many people make mistakes on how they put these things together, on how they clean these, including machine shops. You always have to make sure that whoever cleans this does not use any type of power tool. It has to be done by hand with a razor blade. Let me pull out a razor blade and show you right now. It has to be one of these, it doesn't have to be, but these thick razor blades work the best. And what you'll do is you'll scrape it away like this, right? And I'll show you this spot after I'm done here. It's not fun. It's painstaking, it really is, especially up here in this corner here. You kind of have to do like this because there's a little bit of a ledge right here at the end. And then what I like to do is like that, right? You try to get as much of it as possible completely away from the inside of the engine, the inside of the cylinder head, even though this cylinder head's getting rebuilt anyway. It's probably got bent valves. But if it wasn't, that's how you would clean it. Now you see my scrape marks from the razor blade is not actually going to take away material like a whiz disc, like a air-powered rotary grinder. Does that make sense? Tell me in the comments if you're following me. Now, there's one more here. Now let me show you how you're supposed to, after everything's cleaned up, after you have everything cleaned up, if you were to this is another video, but you would want to put your camshafts in before you put your rockers in, and make sure, and actually bolt your cam tray down and make sure that your cams spin absolutely perfectly. That would indicate that you have the perfect clearance, right? Because if you shave this away haphazardly, you're shaving your clearance away, and you can actually bind up your camshafts. Let's unbolt the cylinder head now. We've got these 4 in the front here, and these are very unique to that spot right there. They're the only 4 that are that size. And then we have this poly drive, right? It's a very special socket here. And then we're gonna grab our 1/2-inch drive impactor breaker bar. It's nice to grab the breaker bar and just give them a nice little start. Like I won't ever say that that's not nice to do. And technically you're supposed to start in the middle and work your way out. No, you're not. Technically you're supposed to start in the outside and work your way in. That was a pop quiz, hot shot. So how you do it? It doesn't, if you really want my honest opinion, because I've taken I don't know how many cylinder heads to the machine shop, and I've straight edged I don't know how many cylinder heads, hundreds, and I've bolted on hundreds of cylinder heads, and I've unbolted hundreds of cylinder heads the way I've wanted to. And I will say that in my opinion, I know this is not going to be popular because this is an aluminum cylinder head and there's a lot of purists. In my opinion, unbolting it doesn't matter near as much as bolting it on. I would always follow the procedure as much as possible if I were you on installing, because, you know, it is an engine and you need reliability. But technically, unbolting it, you're supposed to start in the very sides and work your way in the middle. Bolting it on, you're supposed to work your way, start in the middle and work your way to the outsides. So now all of the head bolts are carefully broken loose. Now I'm going to zip them loose with the impact, even though I could have zipped them all loose with the impact to begin with, and it really wouldn't have mattered. Now, I could go more into the cylinder heads and unbolting them and stuff, but I've learned, you know, there's different things that, because these camshafts slide, and because I prefer to keep the cam tray intact and not take it apart, I've had lots of experience with taking these particular cylinder heads off in the sequence that I prefer, which is not exactly what everybody else probably does. But I'll get into the details on that in another video, because that's more than I need to get into right now. I have to cover all of that, and it's going to take a while to go through. And a magnet would be the handiest thing to get these cylinder head bolts out. Once it's nice to get these cylinder head bolts out, and this is nice to take off too, because this can pop out and you can lose it. It's nice to get these cylinder head bolts out because if you try to take the cylinder head off with the bolt still in, it can catch. But let me go ahead and put the camera up and I'll pull this cylinder head off. And that right there, my friends, is fully extended bent intake valves. Getting oil in my arm. What we've got here is 2015 pistons. So it's definitely had a piston update for oil consumption. And there's some carbon bits and pieces just because the valves collided. You see those metal indentations where the valves hit and the corners of those ridgeways there. All right, the pistons are like hammers and the valves are like spoons. And it didn't actually get into the cylinder walls at all. That's just a reflection. The cylinder walls are still absolutely beautiful. The pistons are still absolutely beautiful, despite needing cleaned, because whenever they collided, some carbon bounced off. But I'm gonna go ahead and, I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart and clean it. I'm just gonna clean the pistons because the pistons, with this being a 2015, these pistons probably have, I'm gonna estimate 40,000 miles on them. So there's no sense in replacing these pistons since they're such low miles. I'm just gonna take them apart, make sure that they're all in good shape, clean the piston rings, and I'm gonna put the engine back together. I know a lot of people would scoff at that, but that's gonna be the Naptown tuner ticket on this car right here. Everything has to be individually looked at, and the decision has to be made once it's apart. And this one makes the absolute most sense to, just throw a cylinder head on it and timing kit on it, and this engine is going to be fresh once I clean the carbon off these pistons. These are OEM pistons. This thing will have beautiful compression. It'll be just like new. We'll get there when we get there, but I'm gonna clean up my work area just a little bit, get some of these things put away, and yeah, those are the bent valves. You see a couple of them, like that one right there, got extended so far out that that's why it felt like the engine was seized, because it was actually hitting the piston that much. So we'll flip it around and pull the pistons out in the next video. We'll clean those, and then we'll go back to assembly.